Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Pigboy25 here, and today I am bringing you another coaster review. This time it is the first coaster at Busch Gardens Tampa to receive a review. It is SheiKra, the B&M dive coaster at the park there. Now, we got a lot to talk about with this one, but before we start, I have 4 quick updates. 1, my vacation in Minnesota has come and gone. I collected the full set of credits at Valley Fair and Nickelodeon Universe, and I want to make park content. I want to make content on those 2 parks quite soon. Reviews, countdowns, and synopsis. I'll probably put the synopsis in one video rather than 2. Off-ride footage has to be postponed even further. My current phone has too little space, and the device, I claimed an iPad mini from like 2008 was acceptable in a video or 2 ago, and it failed because it can't zoom. The camera cannot zoom in and out, which sucks. I was hoping to get some pretty cinematic shots, but no, it didn't work. I didn't bother to check that. But now I'm in the roots of upgrading my phone to a 128 gigabyte iPhone 6s rather than a 5C. 128 gigabytes, I can literally do I can get all my recording in one visit if I so wanted to. So yeah. And 3, I've been on Joker at Six Flags Great America 3 or 4 times as a matter of fact, and I want to put up a review and a hierarchy of Six Flags Great America coasters. Top 14 coasters at Six Flags Great America. This time it's going to be updated. And 4, I'm going to mention, I mentioned the Six Flags Great America tips and tricks video back in like April, a few months back. And I'm finally ready to make that. I feel like I've gotten enough visits I can understand the park. And I got some tips and tricks for people visiting. And I hope to get that up sometime over the summer. I got a lot on my plate at the moment. Just after having a new content. Also, I'm confirmed to go to Kings Island sometime in late June. So I'm going to Kings Island. We're going to make content on that. But with that all the way, let's begin. Our drop for SheiKra. It's a B&M dive coaster. The ride's all about the drop. I quite like it. Not only for the angle of descent, but also in part of the restraints. And the drop, it's great, but it's nowhere near a drop like a Raging Bull or Fury or whatever it be. Dive coasters don't even have the best drops of all the coasters in the world, but still, pretty awesome drop for hanging you over the edge. 9 out of 10. It's not bad. I recommend. Good drop. Intensity, I feel like SheiKra can pull some G's in certain spots, but the ride's not guaranteed to make you gray out. It does have it does have a helix, it does have quite a few G's at the bottom of the drop because you got some speed, you're going quite fast. There's the splashdown, you're going to be in the bottom. There's some areas where you can pull some G's, but overall, it's not guaranteed to make you gray out. Maybe, if anything, because of the mid-course break room ruining the momentum, I'd give it a 5. But for now, I'm giving it a 6, because I did have some G's on the ride, if I remember correctly. I don't know, I wrote this in August of 2016, so it's been a while. So, yeah. That's SheiKra's intensity. We got duration. Now, depending on how you time this thing, it's between 40 and 60 seconds, depending on where you start. 60 seconds is the moment you disengage in the lift hill, and with that in mind, you have 20 seconds trying to turn, making that 180 degree or so right turn, and then hanging over the edge. 40 seconds is when you disengage from the drop stall. When you're stalling over the first hill, you're looking down, there's nothing but drop beneath you. That's about 40 seconds there. Either way, 40 seconds would be a 4, 60 seconds would be like a 6 or 7, so I'm going to round at the happy middle, give like half credit for the slow turn, and give it a 5 out of 10 for duration. This one's a bit tricky. So, yeah. Because I'm not sure if just a slow-moving 180 degree turn counts as like part of the ride or active credit. So, whatever it is. I'd just give it a 5 out of 10 for duration. It had a nice happy medium if you're looking at the 60 seconds one. You could give it a 4 if you don't count that. But I'll count it because it's technically you're in motion, not by gravity. Technically. I don't know. It's weird. But I'll give it a 5 out of 10 for duration. Nice medium. Probably a little low, probably about average, a little below average length of actual fast-moving track. Moving on. Airtime. There are no definitive airtime hills on the ride. However, there are unintended pops of airtime on both drops. The one after the stall and the one after the mid-course brake run, as well as a little pop into the mid-course brake run. And like I said before, this is due to the restraints, and we will touch on those just a bit. And Smoothness, the ride is very smooth. Not perfect, though. It's a B&M. This thing was built like 2004 or something. This thing was built in this millennium. So it's still relatively young. It's probably 10, probably like 10 plus years old at this point. But still, it's a B&M. These things don't get rough very easily. And they might get a bit bumpy, but that's why it's probably not perfect. But overall, SheiKra, very smooth. Not much needs to be said about Smoothness. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. And Restraints. Now, the thing that I like about these Restraints is that they are absent of micro-click technology. Micro-click, it's basically where you don't hear the ticks every time you lower your restraint one stage. You basically just drag it down without a sound. I call that micro-click technology, because I can imagine the gears inside of it. Valorvin and most vest restraints have micro-click. And a lot of lap bars from a lot of modern coasters have micro-click. But this was built in a time to where you can audibly hear the restraints clicking down on you, which it's like 12 preset lengths of settings, whatnot. You don't hear more than a dozen clicks if you take the ride all the way to max tightness, which gives you a lot of space. It gives you some space and makes the drop and airtime hills way better than those with vest restraints. And they might be bulky over the shoulder restraints, probably like 6 or 7 out of 10 without it, but I think because they actually benefit the ride in an unintended way, rather than just keeping you in the seat and just keeping you like it, I think honestly it gets an 8 out of 10 for restraints because they actually help the ride. I think it's quite nice. I quite like the restraints here. I like how they just absentmindedly just help the ride. So yeah, it's quite nice, I'll say. I do like how they help you in an unintended way. I do like how they just make the drops a lot better with the restraints. Valorvin's got a taller drop, but the drop's got more airtime with this. Your gut goes further into your stomach, you're out of your seat for the drop because of the looseness of your restraints. So yeah, 8 out of 10 the restraints. Moving on. Theming. SheiKra, little to no theming on this one, I will say. SheiKra is derived from a word in some African language of a bird of prey. I forget what the actual bird of prey is called, but it sounds similar to SheiKra. Like SheiKra or whatever it is. I don't know. Look it up on Wikipedia, it'll tell you. I will give Busch Gardens Tampa some credit. I like how they put buildings around it. There's some like rock formations. And I do like how they got the splashdown. The splashdown means like you're grabbing a fish out of the water if you're a bird of prey. If you want to go that far into the theming, if you want to go that deep. I mean, honestly, I'll give them credit for what they put on the ride. It's not just like they stuck it in the middle of a parking lot on like some coasters. But I mean, these little things could mean something. Overall, I won't give them a 1 for theming. I won't give them a 0. I'll give them a 2. And there's no theme that pops out at you immediately, but I just like the theming a little bit. It's not completely identifiable. It's not, but I just think that there is some things there that can help guide it towards something. I'm not sure. It's a bit odd. Moving on now. And finally, we have inversions. This is our last category, our 8th category here. SheiKra has 1 inversion, 1 lone Immelman after the first drop. It's pretty much identical to every opening on every dive coaster ever. A drop, then an Immelman. Yep. It does earn more than 1 point, because it's actually a good inversion rather than just being an inversion. My inversion scoring category, I give points based off how many inversions are on the ride. Like, say a coaster will have 5 inversions. They start out with 5 points. And if they're actually good, unique, forceful inversions, I give them a few extra points for how good they are. So a coaster with like 5 inversions, like Batman, could get like a 7 or 8 on the inversions because they're good inversions. Might not be original, but they're good. SheiKra has 1 Immelman, but it's large, it's imposing, it's fun to go through. So it gets 2 extra points. It's still a low score because of the lack of inversions, but it's still a really good Immelman for what it does. These scores in the categories here don't exactly matter. The score in the end is what matters to a lot of people, which you will see that very shortly. Just wanted to get that inversion scoring out of the way if you didn't know it already. And the restraints, I give extra points. I give points based off what the restraint is, and if they have unintended consequences or benefits, I give them extra or less points for that. So that's how I score things. And yeah, inversions will get a 3 out of 10 final. It's not bad. I just think for one inversion, that's actually a really solid score. It's not like this one inversion blows your mind out of the water or something. I don't know. It's like not like full throttle's vertical loop or something. That would blow us out of the water. That's probably like a 5 for inversions right there. For one. Like if it was a lone inversion. So yeah. We're gonna move on now. We have our scores. Overall, this thing receives a 46 out of 80 if you combine all the scores that we received in 8 slides, which rounds down to an average score of 5.75. And my score, the average score is actually a lot higher or lower. It's rarely ever identical to the actual score because because everything is equal weight with that. However, my score is a solid 8 out of 10 for SheiKra. It's a fun ride, solid in the lineup, and I do recommend picking up this credit if you happen to visit Busch Gardens Tampa. Like this, Montu, Cobra's Curse, Kumba. I think those are all really good credits to pick up if you ever come here. And Cheetah Hunt's really good to pick up as well. But this is definitely a fun one to pick up. Probably not the highest ranked credit. I think Montu, for some Kumba, and for some Cheetah Hunt would be higher ranked than this, but I definitely would rather ride Montu over this. If you see my Bonanza countdown, like part 10. I do think this coaster is quite good, but the lack of originality just prevents it from being an absolutely excellent coaster. I mean, dive coasters aren't exactly the most well-received to begin with, but they're still pretty good. They still do quite good for their height, their size, their length, or whatever they be. I mean, it's still this is like one of the second or third dive coaster ever. It was like a 4-year project according to B&M. It was quite a bit, and BGT, I think it was well worth the money put into this. It's quite popular as well. It was the longest line I was in at Busch Gardens Tampa at like 45 minutes to wait for the SheiKra credit. Yep. It even was longer than some things running one train, like Scorpion and Kumba. My goodness, that was a long wait at Scorpion and Kumba though. That was so needlessly long, Kumba. I don't know. So yeah, if you guys have enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscription. And as always, I hope you guys have a great insert unit of time here, day thing. Have a great insert unit of time because I can't tell you what to do, nor can you tell me what to do because we're all renegades. And as always,